It's Susan Kennedy, spiritual medium here with a reading for the week. And as I start, I just want to say, I probably need to say it on every video now, that if there are any comments that come up through the feed asking you for or offering a reading, it's not me doing that. I think last time I was here live, which was 2 weeks ago, somebody came on and had cloned my personal page. So yeah, I don't know how to stop that. Report it to Facebook if and when it happens. But in saying that, at the end of the writing that I put each week with the reading, there is a link if you do want to book a reading with me or a healing. So this week we've got the new moon in Leo, loving the Leo energy, because of course I am a Leo. And we've got this beautiful new moon energy this week on the 29th. And I think in the weeks leading up to these things, like, leading into the full moon, leading into the new moon, just great opportunities. So at the moment, the huge opportunity that we've got is the vision that I had in my mind this morning was actually saw the Statue of Liberty and an image of Archangel Michael with his sword. And I kind of went, okay, so really what's going on at the moment is this energy of balance, equality, justice, and a kind of a need to really cut away those things that are not working. So I had this image too of cleaning out your wardrobe, and I did that yesterday. I had a massive clean out. And you know how sometimes you have things that you bought and you go, why did I ever buy this? Or things that don't fit anymore, things that you just don't like anymore. So this week, proverbially, it's cleaning out the wardrobe week. It's that week to get rid of that no longer serves you, and to start saying, really, what is it, that I want to have in my life? What do I not want to have in my life anymore? And as you do that, you kind of move more into alignment with your soul, alignment with what you really are all about. Now, the other thing to talk about this week, we've got Mercury strongly online with the new moon. And it's interesting, I was doing some reading about the mythology of Mercury, and very much things I wasn't aware of. I always see Mercury as that energy of communication. We always say when there's miscommunication, is Mercury in retrograde. But Mercury was also known as the guide that took people or souls through the underworld or through to the afterlife. So I feel very much we are in a week of rebirthing, moving from one phase of your life, and there may be sudden and dramatic clarity around a situation that you have been in. The other thing that I see very strongly is this fire and ice energy on the planet at the moment. So we've got fires raging across the US and Europe. And I believe Yosemite National Park, the sequoia trees are ablaze. There's things that have been there for thousands of years or hundreds of years. And what we're seeing with the destructive energy of fire, fire can be a wonderful thing. It can bring us power, it can bring us energy, fire, the sun, the Leo energy, this, but when it's out of control, so when power gets out of control, which by the way, on the planet, it has been out of control. And we're seeing so many leaders on the planet changing, leadership's changing, the will of the people. You've got Sri Lanka where they've ousted their president, and you've got places like the UK where Boris has been asked to leave. So it's kind of like people are saying, we're not going to put up, we're not going to tolerate. I think Italy's had another change of leadership. We've just had a recent change of leadership, but there's a distinct groundswell of public opinion and people wanting leadership that's more transparent, more fair, more just, where people are going to actually look after the people and the planet and the environment. So the fire energy, the Leo energy, new moon in Leo, this fire energy that is, raging across Europe at the moment. Fire can bring energy, it can bring power, it can bring warmth, but it can be so destructive. And in that destroying of things that have been there for a long time, so think, metaphorically, think about old government systems that have been in place for a long time, the patriarchal system that has been in place, maybe your own fixed ideas that have been in place for a long, long time. This is the time to level them. And when there's the destructive energy of fire, sometimes it means that people have to leave their homes, they lose their homes, habitat is lost, and there has to be a movement away while the regrowth happens or the rebuilding happens. So potentially it's a time this week for you to look at fixed patterns, and maybe it's time to just step away. So potentially some retreating, some writing, some meditation, and really dropping into your heart, really dropping into that energy of what is it that you want to bring in. Now, fire and ice. So in this part of the world, in the southern hemisphere, let's talk Australia because it's a huge continent, but I don't think I've ever known such a cold winter as what we're having. And I kind of was seeing, this thing and saying, well, I grew up in the UK. We've never experienced 40-degree temperatures over there. Of course we have here. So it's, and we're experiencing winters like, especially in Queensland, like we've not experienced before. So in our memory, let's say. So what I'm seeing is it's almost as though the Northern Hemisphere is getting what we normally get. We're getting what they normally get. A complete flip. And maybe us understanding them more, them understanding us more, and saying, wow, because, when we have the bushfires here in Australia, I know family, at home, they're always, people overseas are always kind of in awe of what happens here. So as we see it, it's as though we are experiencing other people's reality. It's an interesting thought, isn't it? So I would ask you to question for yourself, where has somebody else either forced their reality onto you, or where do you feel stuck in someone else's reality? Because, the energies of fire and ice, they're both very destructive energies, but they both pave the way for something new. And it's only through being able to sometimes shift your fixed mind or your fixed ideas or beliefs that you can move into a new reality. So really this week, I really encourage you to look at that. Ice, it can freeze things. It can keep things so that they stop decaying. But ice can just stop things altogether. So you might be stuck at the moment. You might feel frozen with fear, frozen with, whatever it is that would be potentially holding you back. What do other people think about you? All those kind of things that stop us from truly living into our passion. So the good energy of the fire, the new moon in Leo, is this rebirthing a passion and bringing ideas, careers, changes in relationships, changes in your health, changes in the way you live into being. So always on the new moon, which is the 28th, I think, and the 29th here in Australia early in the morning. But it's a great time to write down your intentions. And I think when you write, you actually bring it from the invisible world to the visible. So with any of your meditations, any of your affirmations or your goals, start speaking them aloud, even if it's only to yourself. Because as soon as you start to speak it out loud, your brain starts to hear it, your body starts to respond, your energy field changes. And as we know with any manifestation, act as if what you want is already happening. So good morning, Margot and Julia and Susan and Margie, and lovely to see you here. So I'm using the Mother Mary Oracle cards this morning. Love Alana Fairchild's work, as always. And when I read the cards, it's just my interpretation. Always, if you do ever want to buy cards, I always recommend hers. And the way that she writes really resonates with me because she goes deeply into the symbology, the meaning, and has a deeply healing message with all of her work, which, I think unless we start to heal ancestral wounds, unless we start to heal our fixedness, then how are we going to change? How are we going to move forward? So, yeah, and unfortunately, there's always that thing, I believe, that you have to feel in order to heal. So if you're someone that is afraid of going down that healing path, one of the best ways that you can think about it is that you don't have to re-experience anything, but what you have to do is be the historian and be the learner. And Mercury is all about being the messenger, but the educator. And what could you have learned from what happened? What can you learn from what happened? Because everything that's ever happened to us, good, bad, or indifferent, has some value in it. And, you know, if we've had trauma, if we've had things that are painful, we can always become more loving, more peaceful, more harmonious when we can actually find some benefit. How have we changed because of what happened? All right, so let's bring 3 cards forward for the week. Gotta love it, gotta love it. Our Lady of New Vision. So 16, and I love the beautiful softness of this card. Beautiful pink on the outside, beautiful roses there, and of course this deck has a lot of flowers on it anyway. But the 16 number, we'll talk about that, we'll talk about new vision. So 1, new beginnings, 6, the rebirth energy. We're in the 6th year. And more that we go into it, more that we get to the end of it, it can be painful if we aren't making the changes that we need to. So our soul's always giving us a tap on the shoulder. It's always encouraging us towards more peace, harmony, and creativity as well. Because when you bring your creative energy into the world, you make things better for yourself and for others. So beautiful. What new beginning this week and what rebirth. And also 6 is very much about community. It's about who do you hang with, who's your tribe, what's their vibe, family time. It's always about having things beautiful. So again, even though it's not spring, I don't know about you, but have any of you gone into that spring cleaning energy? And at this point, I'm just going to say hello to my beautiful friend in New Zealand who said to me last week, where were you last week? He said, I was getting set up in my lunch break to listen to you and you weren't there. So I apologize for not being here last week. But anyway, sometimes other things come up. All right, so another card for the week. Oh, interesting. Our Lady of Sacred Waters. Now, if you look at that as well, and what number is that? Number 27, so we'll talk about that. But water for ice, you know, I said the theme for this week for me is fire and ice. So water happens when the ice thaws. And maybe there's ice in you somewhere. So sometimes we harden our hearts or we harden our ideas. So when this talks to me about flow and saying this is about being in the sacred flow of the divine. And the 2-7, so the 2 energy, the duality, fire, ice, one reality, another reality. So looking at duality, looking at both sides of the picture, looking at alternatives really. You know, if we've got a fixed idea about our life or about someone in our life, what's another reality? What's a more loving reality? What's a more loving choice? So I really believe, and partnerships. So a lot about partnership this week, changes in partnerships, the way that they are, the flow of them. And the 7, always about the sacred path, trusting, the nudge from spirit to be on our path, whatever that is. So don't keep yourself small, don't keep yourself hidden, don't hide yourself away, basically. Let things flow, let your light shine. But a beautiful card, sacred waters. And water, you know, if you think about the ice, when the ice melts and the water flows, water is life-giving. So I did get a very strong message as well that for many of us, I think especially here in Australia, winter months, we tend not to drink as much water. You know, we have those hot drinks, the tea, the coffee, the hot chocolates, but maybe to get a lot more fresh water in, because fresh water will transport the messages through the body, and it is a huge time for a great cleansing, a detox, a cleansing, and yeah, see where all that goes. So one more for this week, and you just see how those comments are going. Good morning, Kim, as well. And of course, through the day, I will be answering your comments. So, and thank you again to all of those of you that always share. I really do appreciate it, getting the message out there. Beautiful. Our Lady who gives peace. I really am reminded with this one of the time during, I think it was just before the war, when the little flower, which was Our Lady of Lourdes, appeared and was giving visions. And actually, I think it was about Russia. It was about consecrating Russia. And there was this whole energy, and this card reminds me of that. It's saying that, obviously, from a personal point of view, if there are any wars in your world, how can you resolve them? But I really believe this is about saying, there has to be this transformational energy of peace on the planet. And never forget that we can pray, and no matter what your beliefs, there are angelic beings. Our Lady's energy is very strong at the moment, as is Archangel Michael. So these, they're planetary guides. But they can't do it all. But we can ask for intercession. We can ask for the blessings of peace to come to those who have troubled hearts. Those leaders that are, leaders can only lead when people support them. I've said this so many times, but I can't believe how one person can exert so much power. But it just tells me that whatever they're telling those people that follow them is convincing enough for people to kill other people. I mean, it just is beyond anything. But a beautiful message that maybe we'll see a breakthrough soon in the war in Ukraine. So Our Lady who gives peace, 3 and 2. Let's talk about the numbers as well. The 3 being very much about the Trinity, Mother, Father, Son, mind, body, spirit, all of those, but bringing unity. And I always see 3 as being about healing. 3 being family healing, a lot of creative thinking. That 2 energy again, the duality. How can we make 2, if you look at 2 sides of a situation, black and white, black hair, white, very black and white, but then a third option is a new solution. So that's the 3 energy. Peace. Can we take both sides of a situation? Can we make something new? So really hope that you create something new this week. Really hope that you have a fabulous week. And the new moon is, at the end of the week. Always write down my intentions. I always think it's a wonderful thing to look back on from the month before, because every new moon is a 28-day cycle, and it gives us a chance to really bring some of our desires into reality. And I often think that if you don't have a goal, then you'll get what you've always got and nothing will change. So let's see what happens. Have a beautiful week. I'd love to hear what you think about all of that this morning. Okay, bye for now, and see you next week.